you see, at the end of the day, this is about and smarts and whether you're able to your brain in the correct manner. And flat earthers, the small group that we are, the small population that we seem to be outsmarting just about every scientist, mathematician, surveyor that we come across.
No, you're not.
That's apparent, right?
Where's the list of awards that you've all won?
Oh, we're not about the awards. We're just about.
Where's the list of awards that you've obviously all won for your outstanding contributions to science?
The reward is when we demonstrate that the birth are talking about.
Yeah, when you do, which will never happen.
So it is about you.
So what you meant, Chemo, was none. We don't have none. That's what you meant.
Well, when we look at your article is pretty stupid because not the current science. Talking about a pulling of the gravitational CERN, which nowhere in the current science does it about any pulling.
No, that's not what the article was about at all, was it?
So
the article was not about gravity.
The planets wobble. Yeah, it's what causes the planets wobble, their brain. That's what your article says. Pull from the CERN contribute to the planet's wobble. Now,
the article is about measuring that wobble.
With a pull. And there's no such thing as a pull. Don't have any experiments or science to back that up.
See,
and that's what sets us apart.
Pick a word out to just try and prove a stupid point when you haven't really got one.
Your claim, your article, your paper that you stupidly didn't read and realise it's not the current science.
I read it and I understood it. That's the difference, Chemo.
So what is this pulling force you speak of?
Chemo.
Big mouth?
It's been over
talking about gravity, Chemo. We're talking about how they're measuring the rotation and wobble of the Earth.
Why does it talk about gravity then in your article?
It just uses a colloquial term.
Yeah, why?
Chemo. What do you mean why? Just to make it accessible for everyone and easy to understand for everyone.
What's easy to understand
if every article had to go into depth on every fucking word that it used, you'd end up with 50,000 pages to explain something you could explain in 2 minutes flat.
So what is this pull of gravity that you speak of?
That would be ridiculous, Chemo, which is what you like to do. You want to pick one word out and then go on for an hour about that particular one word. But you're not actually addressing the article at all.
Your article talks about the pull of gravity from the CERN.
That pull of the gravity, Chemo.
We know that gravity is not a force, and we know that there is no pull. So how does it contribute to the planet's wobble?
No, we don't. Let me do this for you, Chemo.
Never answered what centrifugal force is, Chemo, as well.
I don't see that in his article.
Right. Now, the beginning of the article.
Can I do this?
Can you observe centrifugal force, Chemo?
So this is about intellect. This is about smarts.
No.
This is about who are the cleverest people on this plane. And the flat earthers are showing every time that we're able to outsmart the nonsense that you guys provide. You can't even explain this pull of gravity from the CERN when the current science says it's the best of space-time.
It doesn't need explaining. That's the whole point that it's there, Chemo. That first paragraph is there just to outline what everybody understands and agrees with, to give the rest of it a basis to be built on. That is all. It's not trying to talk about gravity. It's not trying to prove gravity. It's just outlining what everyone believes and understands that the way things are now.
Well, the way things are now is that Einstein is current science.
Yeah.
And you're talking here about the pull of gravity from the CERN.
Yes. Well, that's exactly right. Want me to explain it to you again?
Contributes to the planet's wobble. So it also talks about variations in atmospheric pressure. Now, again, where does the pressure come from in the first? So this whole thing here that you have.
I explained it to you twice where we get the pressure from, so that's not in contention.
I don't see that in this article.
It's not there to be discussed.
Everything. Fucking hell. If you give me a scientific thing about magnets pulling something, are you then going to say, fuck it, magnetism doesn't exist because it can't pull, because there's no such thing as pull?
I don't see magnets in this article.
Yeah, but if I give you another article.
Well, we're looking at this article that proves rotation and wobble.
No,
the article doesn't prove it.
They talk about the variations in atmospheric
It's
pressure.
the mechanism for it.
So what causes this atmospheric pressure?
Jesus fucking Christ.
That's got nothing to do with it.
Why is it in your
What
article?
What causes the Earth?
Why is it in? It's not in your article. Why is this in your article?
I already explained that. The first paragraph just outlines the basic understanding that we all have of the world that we live in.
That's the presupposition.
No presupposition. Measured, verified.
How can it be verified if you don't have a pull of gravity?
Because it's been measured and verified and measured in many different ways, and they all come up with the same answer, therefore verified.
Not without the pull of the sun, gravity sun.
That's your argument, not mine.
That's in your article.
No.
No,
I told you, that's only there to outline the baseline of everything that we understand.
Let's have a look at your article in detail then.
Yeah, read it properly, Chemo.
I am reading it properly. The pull of gravity from
No,
the
it's got
sun.
nothing to do with that. Listen, that first paragraph has got nothing to do with what it's saying. It's just an outline.
Yeah, the first paragraph is a presupposition.
No, it's not.
How do they know it's spinning then?
Measured.
With what?
Read it. Tells you how they measured it.
It tells us.
It tells you how many radio telescopes are used to measure it.
It doesn't work without the pull of gravity.
No, it's got nothing to do with whether it works or not, with the pull or not. That's not what it's saying, Chemo.
Why is it in your article then?
Why does it say kinks? Let's discuss the word kinks, because kinks is in the article. Does it make a difference? Will it have any bearing on it? No.
Can't have kinks without the pull of gravity. None of this works without the pull from the sun and the moon's contribution to the planet's wobble.
Scientists working with lasers and mirrors are refining a new system to track the Earth's rotation and its kinks. So, do we now have to have an hour's discussion on the word kinks and what it means?
Kinks don't work without the gravity pull.
What's a kink?
Don't know. It doesn't work without the pull of gravity.
Can we do that? Can we name kick songs?
My Sharona.
So this is what this is about, the intellect.
So it says
and
the pull of gravity
of
from the moon and the sun.
No, it seems that the flat earthers
Destroyer.
It seems that the flat earthers are a lot more intellectual when it comes to the shape of the earth. Other areas, maybe not. When it comes to where we live, you guys make up things to demonstrate your claim. We don't see anything about the bending of space-time in here, but it's not the current science is the pull of gravity, but yet
it's
somehow
not relevant.
You're still using it.
It's not relevant. Well, why are you talking about that when it's not part of the article?
What's not part of the article?
You can on about the pull. What's the pull? Where's the pull? Where do we get the pull from? So let's talk about the word mirrors. Let's talk about the word kink. Let's talk about the word wobble. I mean, why are you just picking out one word and now that's got to be looked at because Chemo says so?
Because you can't have a wobble without gravity pulling from the sun.
Weebles wobble, but they will fall down.
Let's talk.
I wobbled in the morning.
Can we talk
wobbled
about
in the morning
for a moment?
What about the word article? Does it presuppose paper or something?
What it also says the annual wobble is due to the Earth's elliptical orbit around the sun. Where's the evidence?
Oh, but annual assumes time.
You can't stop me.
Where's the evidence that the sun is at the center and the Earth goes around that?
So what you got to understand, Chemo, is this article is actually relying on the fact that you understand how the world works and how the universe works around you. The fact that you're disagreeing with how it works doesn't mean it doesn't work that way. It just means you're disagreeing with it. Nothing?
Back now. What,
Yeah, about right.
what were you saying? Remember, you're talking to the smartest people here on the flat plane, so make sure your argument is strong, precise, and concise.
Jesus. You're the smartest person on, or one of the smartest people on the plane, you said?
So, how do you explain this pull of gravity when it's not the
I
current
don't have
science?
to explain it. I don't have to.
Well, if you're trying to be scientific about it and
No,
intellectual, yes.
no. The reason it's in there is because it's understood and accepted. I understand it and I accept it. The fact that you don't is a you problem, not me.
I didn't mute you, sort, and now I won't unmute you. So the idea is that we're able to look at your arguments with a fine toothpick and recognise that it's not a clever argument. There is no intellectual discussion here when you're making things up.
I've made nothing up.
So explain this pull of gravity.
I've produced evidence to provide to show you, for you to see and to read and look at and make your own mind up. Whether you choose to believe it or not is not my problem. It's your problem.
It's not about belief. It's about what you've demonstrated.
Okay, Chemo. You know, buoyancy and density.
It's not on the article.
Give me buoyancy and density. Give me the mathematical thing that doesn't use gravity.
It's not in the article. What is in
I'm
the
not talking
article
about the
is the words "the pull of gravity." Now we know there is no such thing as a pull of gravity. The current science states that it's the bending of space-time. So what is this pull you're talking about, Big Mouth?
Why are you picking one word out of the 500?
Well, we've also got atmospheric pressure. Where does the pressure come from?
Let's talk about tracking. It says tracking. Let's talk about that word.
How do you track without the pull from the sun?
It's got nothing to do with the sun. What's tracking got to do with the sun?
Well, that's what contributes to it. Your article says.
No, you're just making shit up.
Okay, let me post it for you.
No, Kima's kind of using science to try and back his claim, but then
it talks about
not using
variations of atmospheric pressure. It talks about the pull of gravity. This is from your article.
And what you just posted doesn't say anything that you just said.
It doesn't say atmospheric pressure.
It doesn't say that tracking has got anything to do with the sun.
How do you track something?
That's what I said to you, Timo. Let's talk about the word tracking. And you said, yeah, how does it do? And I said, well, where does it say that? And you posted that bollocks.
So how are you tracking this then?
My God.
You're going to need God. You're going to need somebody
smart. All you're trying to do is just
side.
derail the conversation, just and then go, oh, yeah, so you can't prove it, so I win. But you're wrong, Kimo.
Yeah, you're going to need someone like God, someone with a high.
All you got to do, Kimo, is just say, I'm sorry, I don't understand it.
What's to understand?
Just say it, exactly. Just say it. Just say, I'm sorry, I don't understand it.
I don't understand this pull of gravity.
We know you don't understand it. It's fine.
So do you have a demonstration of this?
No, it's fine, Kimo. We understand you don't get it, and it's fine.
That's why I'm asking for a demonstration.
I know, you're asking for one.
Put something on a
Why
scale.
did you present a paper that you can't demonstrate?
What do you mean I can't demonstrate? It's there in black and white for you to read. There's nothing to demonstrate. They've told you what they planned to do. They told you what they did to do it, and then they told you the results of doing it.
Yeah, and it all requires the pull of gravity.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't require the pull of gravity.
Require at all. The fact of that matter is, it's there.
So the pull of gravity is not a contribution to the wobble.
You gotta go learn how to educate yourself, Kibo. I know that you like to be spoon-fed stuff, but you can't just ask us to do all of your learning for you. It's never going to stick that way.
Especially when you don't ever show anything yourself or give any evidence or proof whatsoever yourself, yet you sit there and demand it.
What is this atmospheric pressure they talk of?
I don't know. Let me have a look at my chemo pressure sensor, atmospheric pressure sensor, and see what it says. What do you reckon?
Well, it's your paper.
I think it will say chemo should go back to school.
You know, the atmospheric pressure that you don't even will admit that exists, you know, but there are sensors to actually measure it.
Where does the pressure come from?
Go back to school.
Atmospheric pressure is a gas pressure.
You don't want to go there because last time you tried to deny there's heat in a freezer, so you don't want to ask the cause for the pressure.
It's not.
You said there was heat. You said there's no heat in the freezer.
Yeah, he wanted me to define heat in a freezer because he doesn't think that there's heat in a freezer.
Because it's cold, right? So obviously they can't. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, it's not heat when it's cold.
That's right.
And surely he would have banged on about the second law of thermodynamics at the same time, probably.
These guys are just geniuses.
So this is about intellect. This is about brain power. This is about what you can do
don't have anything
against your opponent. Well, obviously, I'm using my brain power against you because you posted an article that talked about the pulling of gravity. Can you demonstrate that?
All you've done is gone after one word. That's all you've done, Chemo.
Yeah, it's in your article.
You haven't actually addressed what the article says. You haven't actually addressed what they're measuring or the measurements that they've got and what those measurements mean. They are the three things that you are going nowhere near, and all you want to do is pick out one word.
Well, how do we measure it without the pull of gravity? That you're posting articles that you haven't even read. Don't understand.
Chemo, you just don't understand it. He's told you, and he's not going to do all the work for you. You've got to learn to do it yourself. So while you don't understand it, which makes you ask a bunch of questions, at some point you need to go learn the fundamentals. I think we're at that point.
You do understand, Big Mouth, that the pull of gravity has been...
You understand, little boy, right, that you don't know fuck all.
Well, I know the pull of gravity has been superseded by the bending of space-time.
Yeah, again, all you do is misquote and lie.
So what's the truth?
Nothing that you say.
What about what you say? Your article says...
Yeah, I'm full of truths. Full of truths. You know why? Because I hate fucking liars.
So the pull of gravity...
You, he means you, Chemo. You're the liar.
Oh, I do mean you're a liar, Chemo, exactly. And I'm not scared to fucking say it. And I would say it if I was stood right in fucking front of you. You are a fucking liar.
Where's the truth in the pull of gravity?
I don't need to explain the pull of gravity.
Where's the truth in that?
I don't need to explain it, Chemo. What you need to explain is how they've used 30 radio telescopes and accurately measured the rotation of the planet spinning.
Not without the pull of gravity.
It's got nothing to do with that.
You can observe the pull of gravity, for fuck's sake.
The pull of gravity is what's causing some of the wobble, right? So let's park that for a minute and let's actually talk about the rotation.
Chemo can take a piss in his toilet and see gravity working, right?
So you want to overlook the false science and carry on forward?
What false science is there? If you take a piss, Chemo, does your piss go down into the toilet and maybe go on an arc?
Sober up. When you sober up, we can have a conversation.
No. You could actually, calculate that arc based on the gravity, right?
Yeah, when you sober up, we can have a discussion. You won't even remember it in the morning.
No. Does your piss go down in the toilet, Chemo?
You won't even remember this conversation in the morning.
Either way, you're king of forgetting conversations.
In 15 minutes.
I know. You haven't ever remembered it in your life.
But your article speaks about the pull of gravity.
There you go, repeating yourself again.
Here we go.
Did you know there's no such thing as the pull of gravity?
Did you know that the article is addressing rotation of the planet, Chemo?
Oops, you've done it again.
Planet? What planet?
Our planet.
Oh my god, this is so boring.
Do you have a measurement of this planet?
Certainly do.
Let's have a look.
Where you going? Have a look. I'm not stopping you. No one's stopping you from looking.
Where do you look?
You got it.
Nowhere to look.
Well, if you can't find it, then obviously your intellect isn't as great as you keep fucking saying.
Well, this is your article.
That's a very good point. If you can't find it, Kimo, it's on you, not him.
Okay, so fine, but this article describes the pull of gravity when there's no such thing?
Oh my god, you've mentioned this like 50 times, Kimo. How many times are you going to repeat yourself?
This article tells you how they measured the Earth being rotating.
Yeah, with the pull of gravity.
No, the rotation has got nothing to do with that pull of gravity you keep quoting. That's talking about the wobble and how the pull of gravity is part of the wobble. We're talking about the rotation. Now, that uses no pull of gravity whatsoever, Kimo.
What is the pull of gravity?
No. We're talking about the rotation, Kimo.
Yes, and without
Right,
gravity...
so the pull of gravity is completely irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Why is it in your article?
Oh my god, you're just like a
Because
broken
that
record.
part of the article is talking about the wobble. Well, we're not talking about the wobble. We're talking about the rotation. Stay on topic. I know it's difficult.
Does this remind you of the Benny Hill theme song?
Yeah.
Don't sing it.
So I'm going to show you my article that shows you Newton was wrong, and your article is wrong.
What's Newton got to do with talking about the rotation and measuring it with radio telescopes?
Because Newton talks about the pull of gravity.
What's Newton got to do with the rotation and the measurement of that rotation using radio telescopes? Please tell me, what's that got to do with it?
Without the pull of gravity, you can't make measurements.
No, Kimo. Why do you keep going backwards? I thought you wanted to learn.
You posted the article.
Have you heard of Einstein before?
Have
you heard of Einstein before? Because Einstein outlines that Newton was wrong.
Do you have evidence of Einstein other than this fucking article? This is just words on
I have
paper.
this article here.
Oh,
We've
so
got this article here that talks about how Newton's pull was wrong. Why are you posting wrong information, Big Man?
what does your article say that is the cause?
It says Newton is wrong.
Okay, and what is the cause?
So if we agree with that, okay, why is Big Mouth producing evidence that is wrong?
Oh, I'm asking about your evidence now.
Yeah, we all agree that Newton was wrong. So why is Big Mouth?
No, we don't.
Why
All you
is
have
Big
is
Mouth
this one
producing
article.
evidence of the pull of gravity from the sun when there is no such thing?
Well, why is Small Brain posting articles about Einstein debunking Newton?
Because it debunks his article.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So show me where Newton was right.
What's
So
Newton got to do with measuring the rotation with radio telescopes? Please tell me.
How do you do that without the pull of gravity?
Please tell me, Kimo, because so far all you do is keep saying the same thing over and over again, but you have not actually told us what it's got to do with it.
It's in your article, read it.
No,
answer the question, Kimo.
I've just told you the answer is the pull of gravity from the sun and the moon contributes to the planet's wobble. So does variation in atmospheric pressure. Where does the pressure come from, and what is this pull? And that's what sets us apart from the globe
We're not
earthers.
talking about the wobble, we're talking about the rotation.
Your article talks about the wobble.
The article talks about wobble and rotation.
Okay.
Now, we're talking about rotation.
So is the Earth wobbling?
It's got nothing to do with it. We're talking about the rotation. One thing at a time. You need to stagger yourself, because it's very difficult for anything to sink in for you.
Have a few drinks, Kimo. You'll be staggered soon.
So how do you explain this article that is wrong
You've got to do
according
it
to Einstein?
slowly, Kimo, so you can soak it up and take it in and let it actually sit for a while, and then you might actually get it.
I've just posted an article that Einstein says Newton and your paper is
Yeah,
wrong.
but listen, you keep talking about Einstein, right?
Mhm.
But like I said to you, if you want to start quoting Einstein, then you have to commit to fully backing what he says or not.
So
you
do
can't
concede?
cherry pick what you want. You can't pick and choose every little bit that you like or don't like. You either accept it or you don't, Kimo.
So do you concede then that your paper is wrong?
So do you accept what he says?
Yeah,
Maybe
I
raising
accept
your
what Einstein
voice
says. Yeah, I accept
Right,
Einstein.
Einstein says it's a globe. Welcome back.
Why did you post a paper that was wrong?
Nothing else to say, Kimo. You accept Einstein. Einstein says it's a globe. Well done. Welcome back.
Einstein says there's no pull.
Doesn't matter.
Stupid fucking
Doesn't
argument.
matter.
That's a
You see, it's a
stupid
globe.
fucking argument you have.
No,
Okay, let's accept that we're on a globe because of Einstein. Why did you produce an
He says
incorrect
it's a
paper?
globe, Chemo. If you're behind him, then you're a globe.
I've just said I agree. Okay, it's a globe.
Yeah,
Einstein said it's a globe.
It's done. There we
The question is, why are you
further
why are you
questions.
producing wrong information?
How's it wrong? I've just proved my point. You're a glober.
Okay, but why are you producing wrong globe information?
There we go. And you don't lie ever, right, Kimo? You're a glober now.
So you can see that your article is wrong.
There
No,
we
I don't
go.
see it at all.
So where does it say Einsteinian in this paper?
Exactly where?
Where exactly?
Yeah, so why are you quoting him?
That's the current science.
And?
You're showing me old science in the past.
But you're talking about something different to the article that I've posted.
Yeah, exactly. It's the current
Yeah,
science.
so why are you talking about something different and not addressing the one that I posted?
Because your paper is old. It's been superseded.
Why are you talking about something different than what I posted?
Because your paper has been superseded.
No, it's not. They're talking about measuring the rotation with radio telescopes.
Yeah, how do you do that without the pull of gravity?
It's got nothing to do with gravity.
Well, why is it in your paper then?
Back down in circles, Chemo.
Why is it in your
it's
paper?
the current fact and the past fact and always will be the fact, Chemo. That's why. Gravity, as we all know, is observed as acceleration. It says right there in that quote you're using. So, acceleration, acting upon mass, will cause a pull. It's that simple. It's been that simple since Newton, and it still is with Einstein. Hasn't changed.
I don't see that in the paper.
Good for you. Then you should learn the background of it. That is not important. There is a pull, it is caused by gravity, and it's still there in Einsteinian gravity.
Why are you providing disinformation, Big Mouth?
He's not.
Well, where does it say Einstein in this paper?
Doesn't have to.
They could just make things up.
No.
Oh.
Not made anything up at all. All I'm doing is posting what's written, reading what's written, understanding what's written, and there you go. That's all you need to know. What more do you need? Why do you need to go any fucking further, Chemo?
Because we're dealing with the current science.
Yeah, the current science.
No,
says
no.
that gravity
Chemo won't be able to. Chemo won't be able to tell us like anything about orbital science.
So, Bogov, do you concede that you're giving us disinformation?
Oh, I don't concede that.
Like whether it's Newtonian or Einsteinian, as you'd like to call it. How do we put things into orbit?
Yeah.
Chemo.
I told you, when you sober up, we can have a conversation.
No. Hey, I'm drunk, right?
Exactly.
So tell everyone else how he put things in orbit, whether it's Einsteinian or Newtonian.
Yeah, when you sober up, we'll see if it asks that question, the same thing.
So if this is not current science, right? It's dated December 22nd, 2011. So
yeah,
how relevant or how recent does it have to be for you?
It has to be current. You want the definition for
current?
current?
What's current? Give me the date. What's the last date that I can submit something that you'll say is current?
Let me get you the definition.
No, I don't need a definition. I need a date.
I'll get you the definition of current.
No, I don't need a definition of current. I know what fucking current means, you fucking idiot.
So it's belonging to the present time, happening or being done now. What is being done
2011,
now?
that's good enough then.
So what's being done now is the bending of space-time.
So 2011 is good enough then.
Is that the present day?
It's ongoing. They're still doing it. So yeah.
That's not current.
It is current. They're still doing it.
Who's doing it?
The scientists.
Are using Newtonian gravity.
It says there.
Well,
the scientists also plan in the future to make the ring laser capable of running continuously for periods of years.
Yeah, you can't have that without gravity.
It's got nothing to do with gravity. Gravity's got nothing to do with a fucking ring laser gyroscope.
So why is it in your article then?
We have gravity. That's because it is gravity, and it still remains that.
I told you why it was there.
The cause of it has changed
it's there
ever
because
so
it's an old paper.
Nope.
I explained why it was there, Chemo. I told you why it was there. Why do you keep asking for the same fucking answer when you've already had it?
Because I want to know why you're providing disinformation.
It's not
It's
disinformation.
not disinformation. It is as current science says it should be. There is nothing wrong with that, Chemo. You not understanding it is not evidence that it's wrong. That is current gravity, right there. Einsteinian, Newtonian, fits all of it.
So, Bog, you want to explain your paper?
It's self-explanatory. I mean,
Yes.
I really don't understand what you're not getting.
Atmospheric pressure,
gravitational-
where does the pressure come from?
Comes from the mass of the air being pulled by the gravitational acceleration of the Earth.
Citation.
Don't need it. We
Me,
already understand
I
it and know
said
it to be true.
There you go.
So we can just make anything up nowadays.
We don't need a citation for what we know to be as fact.
Where'd you get your information from?
It's a fact.
Where
Kimo.
from? From where?
Ipso facto, yeah?
From-
It's a
where?
measured and fully established meteorological fact that
From where?
we don't have to support with anything because it's a measured, observable fact.
Where'd you get this information from?
You find
Don't
it,
go
Kimo.
fuck
Go
yourself,
look.
Kimo.
Yeah, we found Einstein as the current science.
Oh, that's not what you're talking about. Huh?
And Einstein would tell you that the atmosphere will have weight and that weight will cause a pressure.
Citation.
So there you go.
Don't
I
need a
just told
citation.
you
It's fact.
that is the citation
Where'd you get it from?
from
See?
acceleration times mass,
Where'd you get that
from
from?
physics, from basic physics, from Newton, from
Citation.
Newtonian first law.
You already agreed to the Einsteinian gravity just 15 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I
he said he
agree with
stands behind
Einsteinian
him, didn't he?
gravity in the heliocentric model, but where
You
is the
said,
citation?
you said, Kimo, that you stood
the Earth
right
is a
behind
ball.
him.
You said the Earth is a ball, and Einstein is the current understanding of gravity. And gas molecules have a mass, so gravity, Einsteinian, would affect those molecules. So there's your pressure.
Did you have an experiment of this?
Don't need one.
No, I just need an observation. I mean, you agreed to the current science. So.
Okay, so do we have an experiment to back that up?
Don't need one.
We don't need one. You already accepted.
Okay, I'm saying, but do we have an experiment? There's no
Doesn't
experiment.
matter.
So we're
You've already
globers.
accepted
Okay,
it, move on.
okay. So we're globers with no science, no experiments, yeah?
You've already accepted it.
I've
Move on.
accepted it. How many times? Yes, we are globers without science, without experiments,
No,
yes?
that's not what I said. You brought up an article
Mhm.
that Einsteinian gravity is a thing.
So we
So,
agree with
you
Einstein,
know that
we're on a board,
gas molecule-
we're all globers, so we're
gas
globers
molecule
without
has
science, without experiments.
No, gas molecules have a mass.
Citation, citation.
Citation
Mhm.
for
Don't need it.
gas molecules having mass.
Yeah.
Sure.
Excellent.
I
If
can
we're all
give you-
globers, we've all got to understand the same thing, right? So do we have any experiments on the glober side, on our side,
The experiment on what?
on the atmospheric pressure?
What experiment?
I
What do you
don't
mean
know.
by that?
If I'm just a brand new glober, what do we have? Do we have any science to back us up? Or do we just go around telling people we're globers with no science and no experiments?
We have plenty of measuring devices to measure.
Okay, Kimo.
What about the science?
The experiment for gas having mass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does a fan require energy to move it?
I don't know. I'm a brand new glober. What have we got?
Does a fan require energy
I
to
don't
move
know.
air or
Can't
not?
teach.
It does, because it has mass. Energy would act on mass,
Mhm.
and that is what it does.
Okay. Do
So,
we have an
there you
experiment,
go.
or do we just
Here's
tell
your
people? that?
experiment.
What's the
The
experiment?
resistance to being moved.
What was the observed
It
phenomena
makes
in all
us
this?
able to determine the mass of it.
What was the observed phenomena in all of this?
Air moving, Kimo.
I'm just trying to figure out, being as we're globers now, do we have
The
science
observed
to back it
phenomenon
up?
is air moving.
But you're not a brand new.
The variable will be the energy put in. There you go.
It doesn't seem very clever to be a glober with no science, no evidence, no experiments.
I just showed you an experiment. I told you how we find out.
So we just talk about it, do we?
No,
What do we do?
I told you. The fan, the more energy we put in, the more air it will move.
So the fan is
It takes
cause of
energy to
atmospheric
move
pressure.
any air, so it has mass.
Okay,
There
so
you go.
our rhetoric on our side of the globe is we have a fan and that causes atmospheric pressure. That doesn't seem very
No.
smart, doesn't seem very clever.
Being a Poe and just dancing around the topic because you lost what the point doesn't really help you, Kimo.
Well, we're globers
And
now, but we're globers without science, without experiments.
No, we just told you an experiment you could do for yourself.
That's rhetoric.
Chemo, do you know how engines work?
I said to you, once you sober up, yeah, we can have a conversation.
No. Like, do you know how engines work?
I don't waste my time with people who are not sober.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
So no engines.
I don't know. We'll find out when you're sober.
Well, I'm sober. How do engines work, Chemo?
I don't know. Do you know?
So you're a fool.
Okay, well then, why don't you go learn? Then you can have an adult conversation about it.
I will do that another time. Right now, we're trying to figure out, as Globers, do we have science? Do we have experiments?
Yep.
About 100% more than any flat earther's got, yeah.
That's good to know. What have we got?
Everything you need.
So we just tell people we've got everything.
Yeah. All of the facts given in this article, we have experiments for.
So we just say we've
There
got
you go.
everything, yeah? That's the answer.
All of the facts given in this article, we have experiment to establish.
So that's what we tell flat earthers and fence sitters. We have everything, it's in the article.
We don't tell you stuff. We just laugh at you, Chemo.
Okay, so what about the evidence for the
Everything
globe?
that's in that article, we have experiment for.
I heard you. So bug off.
Yeah.
As globe earthers, as we accept Einstein, what evidence and science do we have to back that up?
Go and research.
I have. Current
That's
science
what you
is-
go to school for, Chemo. That's why you go to high school, is to learn these things. Did you go to high school?
Which I've done, and the current science is Einstein says it's the bed in space-time.
And Einstein himself says that his work is built on that of Newton.
Citation.
It's right in my video today. The citation link's right there. It's a letter
Timestamp.
Yeah.
from Einstein himself.
What's the
The,
timestamp?
cit- the citation for gravity being observed as acceleration is right there in your citation. That's how the quote ends, Chemo.
That's what I'm finding out. So the level
You
of
keep
globe...
asking for
That's what
citation
Einstein
to
says.
establish
That's
facts.
the citation. You are the citation.
So the level of globe understanding is because I say so.
No.
Because we know so.
Oh, because we know so.
Yeah.
We're globers and we know so.
Exactly.
Everything that's in that article is established by experiment and fully documented.
That's the height of globe intellect, as we say, we just know so.
No. The height of global experience is that we know these things because they are established by experiment. You asking every detail of how we experimented this and that just makes you a Poe.
Chemo, does being a flat earther somehow make you feel better?
I'm a globe earther now, but we're looking for the science to support the globe.
Okay, does this make you
I don't know what
feel
that is.
better? Do you feel special or something?
Well, we are special. We're some of the most intellectual people on the flat
Great.
plane, right?
Why does it make you feel special, Chemo?
We feel special because we've outsmarted, outwitted every scientist on the globe side.
Oh, so you're much smarter than all the scientists on the globe side. Okay, so that makes you
understood.
feel good because you feel superior?
Yeah, I guess so, because you guys are all underneath us, yes?
Well, that would be the definition of superior. You would be above us then, eh?
Absolutely.
And
teach you the
this
current
is what
science.
makes you feel superior.
It's a good feeling, yeah.
Okay. Did you ever think that maybe understanding things might make you feel better?
Yeah, we understand the current science, which is Einsteinian.
Okay. And that makes you feel better?
Absolutely. If there are millions of people underneath us, of course we're going to feel better, yeah?
Okay, so you just think you're superior to everybody else, including all the scientists that came up with these ideas, right?
Which
Guys are
scientists?
underneath me.
We've been able to challenge all of those scientists.
But
Okay,
They come up with
and-
what?
didn't you just get Einstein wrong and thought it wouldn't move anything or pull anything?
What Einstein pulls?
Yeah.
Is that the current science?
Acceleration of mass will cause a force, and if it's going anywhere but down, then it's pulling it elsewhere.
Is that the current science, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So the life of a glober is to say we know because we know, and it is what it is.
No.
Did any glober actually say that?
Yes, they said we know because we know.
No, he said we know because there's experimental evidence to back it up.
Well, what's the observed phenomena then?
What does that matter?
Well, how do you do an experiment without an observed phenomena?
How do you do an experiment, Chemo?
That's what I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you that. How do you do it? Have you ever even done an experiment?
No.
Okay, then why do you think you know how they're done if you've never actually done one?
I'm asking you guys, and you don't know.
Well, no, we most certainly do know.
So what was your
But
observed phenomena?
Okay, how would you tell that we knew? How would
Well,
you
we'd
tell
be able
our
to,
answer was correct?
We'd be able to manipulate our independent variable.
Okay, where does manipulating an independent variable come into science? I mean, why is that a defining characteristic of all branches of science and all types of scientific investigation?
It's a way of knowing things for sure.
That's one way, yes. I agree with you. Absolutely. You're correct with that. Is it the only way?
What other ways?
I am asking you, is that the one and only way?
I don't know of any other way.
Okay, great. All right. So what about Eddington in 1919 with the solar eclipse? Did he conduct an experiment?
What was his observed phenomena?
Do you know about Eddington?
No. Well, who was he?
Okay, Eddington observed the bending of light in the presence of a solar eclipse. He looked at the shifting of star positions, and it was the first confirmation of Einstein's general relativity.
Okay.
And it happened exactly as Einstein predicted it would.
Is it repeated?
So do you understand that verifies a lot of what Einstein did, right?
Has it been repeated currently?
How many times have we had a solar eclipse since 1919?
I don't know. How many?
Quite a few.
Okay.
You think it's ever been done again?
I don't know. Has it?
Well, does it matter?
Yes. Is it current?
Why does it matter?
Because it's the current science we're dealing with, we're looking at.
Okay, so we've got it. Why does it matter whether or not it's been repeated? Is there a certain number of times it needs to be repeated?
Yes.
Okay, what's that number?
3 times.
Why does it have to be repeated 3 times, not 2 and not 4?
Not a coincidence then.
Okay, well, would 2 times be coincidence?
Yeah.
How about 3?
No, you can verify it.
Okay. What's the difference between 2 and 3?
It's not a coincidence.
All right. How do you determine whether it's a coincidence or not?
Because if you can test it.
Well, we did test it. So
More
how do
than
you
2
determine
times.
that it? Why is the 3 different than the 2?
Because it's not a coincidence.
How do you define whether or not it's a coincidence?
You want the definition of coincidence?
No. What makes 3 different than 2
Let's get the
as far as the
definition.
definition of coincidence goes? No, you didn't. All you did was say that 2 is a coincidence, 3 is verification. I want to know what's special about 3. So just go ahead and tell me what's special about 3.
Well, it's just remarkable, and we don't deal with the remarkable.
Okay, so 2 is a coincidence, 3 is remarkable. Does that mean that if it's 4 times?
2 is just an accident.
Does that mean that 4 times is proof?
Yeah, you can 3 or more.
Okay, why 3 or more?
Because 2 is an accident by chance.
How do you know it's an accident?
Because it's happened twice.
Okay, but what makes that an accident?
It's just a remarkable occurrence of events, circumstances without apparent cause or connection.
Okay, how do you determine that 2 is just a coincidence without apparent cause, but 3 is definitive?
I just said it's not an accident.
How do you know it's not an accident? What's special about 3?
Because it's not done by chance.
Is there a chance that even 1 could not be done by chance?
No, you'd have to repeat it. Make sure it's not an accident.
Okay, if I guess that you're 6 foot 1 inch tall, because I watched you walk through a doorway, and I made that prediction and it was true, is that a coincidence?
It's not science.
Is that a coincidence?
I don't know. It's not science.
Okay, if I do it twice and you're still 6 foot 1 inch tall, is that still science? Is that still a coincidence to
That's
you?
a guess.
How do you know it's a guess if it's right twice?
I've just told you.
Okay, but if I guess for a reason, and it comes out to the same answer,
It's a good guess.
say I know the weight of a paperweight because I see the weight of it in the catalog, and I put it on the scale, and by God, that's the weight it is. Did I have reason to believe that that was the weight and predict that that would be the weight? And then when I measured it, it was indeed the weight?
An accidental guess.
It was an accidental guess based on the fact that I read the actual mass of the snow globe or the paperweight in the catalog that I got it from. That still makes it a guess that I guessed
we need
that
it
it
3
would be
times,
that way.
3 or more times.
So 3 is special. Gotcha.
Okay. So, do we, as globers, do we have any science to support the globe?
Well, how about Eratosthenes? That's been done more than 3 times. I've done it more than 3 times myself.
That's science.
How many times have you done it? How many times have you done it?
Never.
Okay, so what do you have to say about it then?
It's a guess.
All right, go ahead and tell me how it happened. What's the basis of Eratosthenes, since you understand it but just didn't bother doing it?
That one with sticks in the ground.
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know.
You're the expert, right?
Let's have
You're
a
the
look.
special one that knows so much more than the rest of us. Tell me how
Google it.
Eratosthenes is done. So you're a Google scholar. I got you.
Dr. Bob, how did we do research before the internet?
I don't know. I don't think we did. It's kind of like color TV was invented the first time I saw it in 1968. I mean, before that, the entire world was in black and white.
Okay, so Eratosthenes was a
Before
mathematician,
internet, they
geographer,
used
a
just the
poet,
Bible.
astronomer, and music theorist.
Encyclopedia Britannica, but
Oh yeah, we've got an image here of what he did. That up.
Does Encyclopedia Britannica say whether the Earth is a globe or not?
You know, Chemo, as long as we've been talking about the Eratosthenes experiment, can you tell me why you don't know that right off the top of your head? How many times have we mentioned it in this chat?
It's not memorable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's made up.
Oh, really? Yet I've done it.
Let's have a look.
And I did it 3 times, Chemo, which is your magic number.
Let's see it then.
I've shown it a number of times. We can do it today together if you want.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, great. Get you a stick.
Uh-huh.
And what you need to do is you need to measure the length of the stick.
Okay.
And then at solar noon, you need to measure the length of the shadow. And you can look up solar noon on date and time. Then you go to the nautical almanac and you find out where the sun is at solar noon, your time. It'll be listed in Greenwich time.
Well, how far's the sun?
It doesn't matter how far the sun is. What we're looking for is where the sun is over the earth.
How do we know where the sun is?
Because that's not part of this. We need to know where the sun is over the face of the earth.
Where is the sun?
Well, you'd have to look it up in the Naval Almanac to find out exactly where it is at any particular time, what point on the earth it's over.
Okay. What? Where? How long do we wait for that? Where is it?
Look it up.
Okay.
It's called the Nautical Almanac. It'll tell you exactly what the location of the geographic position of the sun at any time of the day.
How do they know?
Because they measured it.
Let's take a look.
Go right ahead.
Look at what? What's the timestamp?
I'm not talking about a timestamp.
So,
I'm talking about you measuring the earth today. So get you a stick, and you measure the length of the stick, and then you measure the length of the shadow at solar noon. And you can tell it's solar noon because the shadow will be pointing due north.
Yeah, but are the rays
all you have
parallel?
to do,
Are they parallel or convergent?
what do you think?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you for.
How would you test for that, Chemo?
I have no idea. Do you know?
Yes.
How?
So how would you test for that, Chemo?
I have no idea. Do you know?
All right. Why don't you go look it up, Google it, and look for the test to see whether or not the light of the sun is in parallel. And then when you learn that, come back and we'll finish this conversation.
All right, let's get an observation of suns and rays. Google will help us out there. So we see converging rays. What's next? I've looked it
You
up.
see parallel rays. You look for the test for parallel rays.
No, we've got the observation and they're convergent.
No, they're not.
Well, that's what observation shows.
No, they don't.
Can you show me parallel rays?
Yes, but it'd be more important for you to learn how to do it. So I asked you to find a test, find out if the sun's rays are parallel or convergent.
We've got the observation, they are convergent.
No, they're not.
Do you have an observation to show otherwise?
Yes, I do.
Let's take a look.
No, you do that.
I'm doing it right now. I'll get you another picture. Every photograph
With
in the
this-
world, every photograph
this
in the
evidence-
world shows convergent rays.
It also shows converging train tracks. Are they converging?
I don't know. Are they?
Now that's a question for you.
I don't know. Tell me.
They aren't.
Do you have an observation?
Yeah.
Only one's a fact.
So I've got my observation. 2 images here that shows the sun rays convergent.
No, they don't.
No. That's perspective. You know what that is?
You can't see if they're converging. You can't see the point that they would converge if they were converging. So how do you determine that they're converging?
Every observation shows that.
No. You are not seeing the convergent point
How
at
do you
all
know that?
because you can't see it.
How
Where
do
is
you know?
it?
How do you know? Citation.
In your photos, where?
In the photo, they're all converging to the sun.
Where? Where is the point that they're all converging? You can't see it.
Yeah, we can see it there in the picture.
No, that's not a convergent point at all.
So do you have an image of parallel sun rays?
Yeah, you've just shown two already.
Yeah, they're convergent.
No, they're not.
They're parallel, chemo. That's called perspective. It's like railroad tracks, looking down railroad tracks. They appear to converge, but they don't. They're still measurably 4 feet, 8 inches apart.
Okay,
It's
do you
almost
have-
like Dr. Bob is telling you have to do a test to tell whether they're convergent or not.
I can't. Why are you guys still sitting here claiming that the sun rays are parallel? How do you explain the umbra and penumbra on your solar eclipse?
All right, well, that's another subject. And yes, we do explain that very nicely.
So
Thank
they're
you.
not parallel.
But- No,
So
they
not
are.
parallel.
They are.
Near parallel, yeah.
So not parallel. Not actually parallel. Well, and you said you measure them and they're the same. Right? They're not, right?
Well, the distance from the left and the right side of the sun, of course, the rays from them 2 points are going to be parallel.
They're half a degree off from the two limbs, the opposing limbs of the sun. So, okay, since
Cool,
you
not
felt the
parallel.
need to interject here, how do you test sun rays as to whether or not they are parallel or divergent or convergent?
I'm just trying to
Excuse
teach you your own model here. I mean,
Right,
they're
I
not
don't need
parallel.
you to teach me anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Really,
Jeremy,
I do. If you're running
you have
around
to
telling
know
people the
something.
light rays are parallel,
Jeremy, you
How
have to
do
know
you
something in
test
order
for
to
them?
teach it.
if you're
How
running
come you
around
don't know
telling
anything
people the
about the
light
sky
rays
or
are
how light works?
parallel,
How do you test
penumbra,
for
that doesn't
parallel
match.
light rays?
That's
How would you conduct an
victory.
experiment or a test for parallel light rays?
Do you realize if you're running around telling people that the light rays are parallel and you have a number and penumbra in your model, that's a paradox?
No, it's not.
It's a paradox in your understanding of them, I think, Jeremy.
Yeah,
No, I
Jeremy,
understand what
your
parallel is, and I
understanding
understand
and
what the umbra and
reality are
penumbra
not
is. I understand you
necessarily
can't
the
have
same
it both
thing.
ways. You can't have it both ways.
We're not having it both ways. We have it exactly the way that it's supposed to be. Now,
I
how do
don't
you
think you
test?
understand how light works.
How do you test for parallel rays? Does it involve a tennis ball in the moon, perhaps?
Can you demonstrate that the rays are parallel?
Yes, with a tennis ball in the moon.
Take a look.
No, you tell me how
They're
that
not-
would. Tell me what you would look for to determine whether or not the rays were parallel using a tennis ball in the moon.
Don't know. Tell us.
Okay, why don't you know?
Why do we need
How many
that?
times have you been shown this?
Why
It
should
doesn't.
we know?
Socratic method won't work with chemo. He's immune.
Why should
Yeah.
we know these things? Can't
Could you
demonstrate
do
All
it.
right, but you see, the thing is, you've already been shown this a number of times. Why didn't you pay attention? That's the question. If you're so special and so much superior to the rest of us, why don't you pay attention to things that are demonstrated for you?
Because observations contradict what you're talking.
How many observations?
Every observation.
No. How about 2? 2 would just be a chance, right?
Oh, so you want another one? Okay, let's get another one.
Why is it that all the observation of train tracks show that those are converging? Even though they're parallel.
Don't know why.
You don't know why.
No, why?
This is amazing.
Okay,
Do you know what perspective is, Chemo?
Do we have any observation? No, why?
Yes,
Yeah,
any
every observation of train tracks. What is perspective, Chemo?
I don't know, tell me.
You really don't know much of anything, do you, Chemo? So how are you so superior if we ask you all these questions and you don't know the answer to any of them?
Because when it comes to science about the heliocentric model, we are superior.
Really? Great. How would you tell whether or not the model was heliocentric versus geocentric?
Well,
what is the difference between the two? What's the difference between geocentric and heliocentric?
No, tell me.
Okay, so how do you know the model if you don't know even the basic definition of what the model is?
Because we deal with science.
That is science.
Okay, demonstrate. What's your observed phenomena?
What is the difference between the heliocentric model and the geocentric model?
Tell me.
Compare and contrast. Okay, well, your education is very deficient, Chemo.
When it comes to
if you can't even tell me the difference, go to Google and ask them the difference. Between the geocentric model and the heliocentric model. I'll wait.
What would it prove?
Define it first.
What would it demonstrate?
Define it first so I know that you understand the difference between the two.
Yeah, but we don't want to waste time. What would it demonstrate?
It is a waste of time if you don't know the difference.
Things that are going to help us move forward.
So you don't want to waste time when you sit there going, I don't know, show me. I don't know, show me. I don't know, show me.
That's correct. So what do you have to show?
You're full of shit, Chemo.
So do we have any science to support this model?
None of us are grade 3 science teachers. I mean, sorry for the people who are grade 3 science teachers.
Okay, so Bob, let's get back to your measuring with sticks. How can we measure
only
sticks?
Teachers are scientists?
How can we measure with sticks if the sun rays
needs a grade
are
3
converging?
science teacher to help him.
Bob, how do we measure the sticks if the sun rays are not?
You already know the answer to that, Chemo. Why are you fucking asking stupid questions again?
Does anybody know the reason? How we can use their
You just mind about time wasting and you're asking how to do the fucking stick, really?
Yeah, how do we do that if we don't know if the sun rays are converging or parallel?
We do know.
How do you know?
Because we know. It's a fact.
So we know because we know.
Exactly.
Definitional. It's a definition. Sun rays are parallel.
Topology.
So Chemo, I don't know why they keep saying this. Bring up a visual, one of their cartoon images of the umbra and penumbra. This guy's sitting here saying it's parallel, and the umbra and penumbra will show you that they're not parallel.
So Bob, what do you think about that?
Stupid. He's an idiot. Why would you even ask him? He's sitting here. He doesn't even know his own model.
It does exactly what it's supposed to do with parallel sun rays. And we explained exactly why those sun rays are slightly off, because they come from two different opposing limbs of the sun. What's a limb of the sun?
Slightly off as in not parallel.
No, they're from different locations because the sun isn't a point source of light.
Are they slightly off or are they parallel?
How much would they be off?
Listen, you can't have parallel and not parallel. It's one or the other. It's one or the other.
How much would they be off? And how much of an error
if they're
would that
parallel,
induce?
they would be off none.
Okay, how much of an error would they induce being off as much as you claim they are?
If they're parallel, they would not be off. Do you know what parallel means?
Do you know the answer to my question? How much of an
Are you
error
going to answer?
would that
Yeah, I got
slight...
you, babe. Hold on one second.
No, you hold on a second. How
was
much
talking
would
to
that
my wife,
slight
you goofball.
deviation
I don't call
from
you babe.
parallel cause as far as an error with the Eratosthenes experiment?
I think the problem is that Jeremy thinks that light travels in a straight line.
About what we think, it's about what can be demonstrated.
We do demonstrate it. So, if the rays of the sun are slightly off of parallel, how much would they be off?
But it's
And
not
the answer
parallel,
is
it?
1/4 of a degree.
Not
How much
parallel
of a
then, is it?
difference would that make? How much of a difference would that make on the radius of the Earth under the Eratosthenes experiment?
What is the radius of it?
Didn't ask you that. I asked you how much of a difference that quarter of a degree from the center of the sun to the limb of the sun would make the measurement off.
Well, we need to know the measurements first. What is the radius?
No, you don't. You need to know your error based on the fact that the sun's rays are slightly a quarter of a degree off parallel based on where the ray originates on the sun.
Okay, where's your
So
not
how much of
parallel.
an error will that cause in your... Make it easy. How much of an error would that cause in a sextant reading?
Yeah, where's your experiment to show this?
That's
It's off.
15. That's 15 nautical miles.
We can't
What's
enter
the
these
what,
things
what is
without an
the what is
experiment.
the accuracy of a sextant? What is the acceptable accuracy of a sextant?
Sextant only works on a flat Earth.
We've already demonstrated that's not true, and I've demonstrated that thoroughly. So we're not going to go there, Chemo. What is the acceptable error of a sextant reading?
A sextant only works on a flat Earth, so you can't use that.
Yet we do every day, so therefore your understanding is incorrect. So what is the acceptable error on a sextant reading
Well, who's
for
using
an
it?
amateur?
Who's using it? Let's take a look.
For an amateur.
Yeah, let's see an amateur use it.
I've done it myself. There's a video on my channel that says taking a noon sight. And I
the timestamp?
demonstrate doing a sextant reading and doing the calculations to find my location.
What's the timestamp?
Watch the whole video and learn something.
Yeah, the whole video, moron.
A whole video?
Yeah, watch it all and learn something.
Go on,
Kimo, you never give us
go on and
timestamps.
post it. Let's have a look.
Sorry, guys, I'm on my phone. I don't have the ability to post it. He's
don't
not
need
going to
to
watch it anyhow, so I really don't care.
So we have to
The entire
postpone then.
video is relatively short and takes you from the start to the finish of an insight
So
with
we
two
have-
different types of sextants.
So we have to postpone then Eratosthenes. What else do we have scientific?
Bob, you don't have to post it. Chances are he's already bloody watched it and he's just being a fucking arsehole.
Yeah, I know. That's their game. They like to demand proof as a way to try and delay. They're not going to look at it anyhow. So why, I don't post proof for them because I don't really feel the need to. I don't feel obligated to require their approval of something.
So let's postpone it.
But
then. Not a problem. till next time.
The information's right there. You show me it's wrong.
We need to postpone it because you can't post it.
No, we don't.
No, you go and look at
You
it.
need to show me that it's wrong. What is the acceptable accuracy of a sextant in the hands of an amateur?
I can't show you something unless I see it.
Bob doesn't need to post it when you can go and find it.
You go look at it, Chemo. Go to
Oh.
my channel. It's called Taking a Noon Sight. And you can do a search for it. Just take a noon sight,
Mhm.
Bob the Science Guy,
Yeah.
and pull it right out of Google.
We'll do that on a rainy
right
day
there.
then. But right now, we'll
Do it now. No, you're going to do it now.
Yeah,
If
we'll
you want to
postpone-
require
I
that,
can't
you will
find
do
it.
it now.
I can't find it.
Then you're not looking.
I've looked. It's not there.
Well, it is there.
Well, I couldn't find it.
Well, that's a problem. That's you know what kind of problem that is? That's your problem,
So we
Chemo.
postpone it then.
So if you want to claim that it's wrong, you have to show me where it's wrong. Go show me where it's wrong.
Let's do a rain check on that one.
No, let's not. Let's do it now.
How when we can't even see
Go
it?
to my channel, look at the videos, and you will find it. Just scroll down the videos and you'll find it.
I couldn't find it. I said.
Then you didn't look
I looked.
because it's right there.
7 years of research and you're a fucking shit researcher.
Can't find it, unfortunately.
Can't find a video on a channel that you know where it is and who it is.
No.
You should be ashamed of yourself, calling yourself
Do
a
you know to
researcher.
spell? Do you know to spell, Kimo?
Flat Earth is not science. It's science denial. And what he's doing is he's denying that he can find it. I mean, it's
It's
par for the course.
pseudoscience denial. It's pseudoscience denial, right? You guys got a lot of pseudoscience
Jeremy,
bullshit.
you don't know the difference. Have you ever done science, Jeremy?
Do I know the difference between a parallel
No.
and
Have you ever
non-parallel?
done science, Jeremy?
Bob, you don't know the difference between parallel and not parallel, so I don't know what you're even talking about.
Have you
You're
ever
not ready
done
for science. You need to work on parallel.
All right. Have you ever done science? Because the only people that like to claim pseudoscience are those that have never done it themselves because they don't understand what it is. Do you? Have you
There's
done
those
it?
that They're those that know what the scientific method is and knows, and there
You
are
don't know
people
what
that
the
know that,
scientific
and there are people
method
that know
is,
that when
Jeremy.
you don't follow that
Jeremy,
method and
you don't
claim
know
that you
what
did
the
science.
scientific method is because you've never done science.
You gonna rumpus me the whole time, Bob?
No, I'm just going to tell you I'm not taking your bullshit.
You're gonna rumpus me the whole time. I know your game.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
go
aren't
ahead,
you a
go ahead
mod?
and tell me the science that you've done,
I
Jeremy.
mean, you
I
could
would-
mute him and finish your sentence and then unmute him, Jeremy.
No,
Or he could
that's
ask him
fine.
not to be so rude.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
showing.
okay.
I'm just showing everyone that these guys got pseudoscience. They got no kind of good arguments. Their tactics are weak.
So there's the definition of
You've
pseudoscience,
shown anything,
Bob.
Jeremy. You just repeated the same thing 4 times.
And what have you
That's
done
why.
verbal?
That's why I get tired of listening to you, Jeremy. Have you ever actually done science?
What science is verbal done?
What science have you done, Jeremy?
What science is verbal done?
Stop white knighting for him. He's in trouble. He knows it. Just answer the
So it's
question,
verbal.
Jeremy.
What
What
science is
science
I'm
have
in
you
trouble.
physically done?
I'll vote for
Water.
Jeremy. I'll vote for Jeremy. Jeremy designed many scientific experiments that never took place.
So what science have you done verbal, Dr. Verbal?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you, Chemo.
So what have you done?
Probably about 100% more than you've ever done, Chemo.
Like what?
It's all redacted. You can't look at it, Chemo.
Like
Sorry.
what? The verbal's done no science.
So when I was in high school, we did this experiment where we dropped eggs off the top of our high school, and we measured how fast they fell.
What was your observed phenomena?
Did you
I'm sure
drop
it
them
I
in
was observing gravity.
salt water?
You observed phenomena of
Did you drop
gravity,
them
yeah?
in salt water?
What was your cause of gravity?
Oh, we weren't looking at the cause. We were just studying how it worked
So that's not
in
science.
the real world.
So it's not
That is
science.
science.
That is
Completely
pseudoscience.
science. Jeremy, do you agree? Is that pseudoscience to make observations and measure them?
What was your independent variable? Or sorry, what was your observed phenomena?
The eggs falling from the top of the building,
All right, what was your hypothesis?
that they would all fall at the same rate regardless of what you put on them?
Okay, what causes that?
Even bacon?
What caused
Yeah,
that?
even bacon. Even if you put bacon on it.
What was the cause?
We didn't waste any bacon, though, Moyoc.
What was the cause?
Despicable that you would.
Yeah, that's not a valid hypothesis, Chemo. I don't know what that even meant. What he said.
Verbal hasn't done science.
I'm sorry, Jeremy. You asked like 4 questions. Which one would you like me to
You
address
answered
first?
all of them.
I
apart
asked
from
what
the
the
cause.
hypothesis was. You gave me.
The
you gave me
hypothesis was
rubbish.
they would all fall at the same rate.
That's not a hypothesis.
That is exactly a hypothesis.
That's not your predicted cause to the effect.
I'm done talking to you guys about this. You clearly don't have a background in
So do
this
you have
discussion.
a cause to
Thank
the
you
effect?
for including me, Chemo. I appreciate it. Jeremy, let me know if you change your mind on anything.
So you don't have a cause. And that's why we say it's pseudoscience, not science.
You've got an archaic version of the scientific method.
So, Bob, what was your observed phenomena when you did science?
Real scientists don't subscribe to your archaic version of the scientific method at all.
Big
In
mouth,
fact,
fuck off.
they've gone so far as they won't even teach that in school anymore.
Okay. So, Bob, what
That's
was your...
not really true. They do teach that in like the 7th grade when they're trying to introduce how to do an experiment, a particular experiment. That's where Quantum Eraser got it. He got it
An
from
actual
outline of a
scientific-
very particular experiment in middle school.
An actual scientific experiment is when they teach you the scientific method. Yes.
Nope.
Yep.
No.
You don't even know what the scientific method is.
Regardless, what was your observed phenomena? And how did you experiment with it?
I don't play that game. I don't subscribe to your definitions, Chemo. I don't need to.
Was there an observed phenomenon or not?
I don't need to subscribe to your experiments. You
So there
read
was an observed
experiment.
phenomena.
All right, look at Eratosthenes. Tell me what the observed phenomena in Eratosthenes was.
That's not science.
You don't get to decide that. That's not up to you. You need to
Well,
look
let's
at
look
the
at what
experiment
Eratosthenes-
and tell me what's wrong with it.
Well, what's the observed phenomena in Eratosthenes?
You tell me.
I don't. This is your bullshit pseudo.
No,
experiment
you're
that
the one
trying to pass
questioning
off.
it being an experiment. You have to tell me why
Yeah.
you don't think it's an experiment. So
Because I don't think you have
I'll
an
tell you
observed
why.
phenomena.
I'll tell you why.
Here's
because-
why.
I'll tell you why. Because he was a mathematician, geographer, poet, an astronomer, and a music theorist. Where's the science in that?
Actually, just about every one of those is. With
Well,
the possible exception of poetry, although if you look at meter and such, there is a science to poetry.
Well, what's the observed phenomena in this?
You don't need one.
You tell me. You tell me.
I don't see
What's
one.
the observed phenomena in the Eratosthenes? You're the one criticizing the experiment.
I
Tell
don't
me
see
what
a
your
phenomena that
criticism
needs
is.
explaining.
Chemo, weren't you just saying that we need to be current?
Yeah, so why are we talking about
Yes, well, we need the
Eratosthenes?
current scientific methods, yeah?
Okay, which is what?
So do you want to Google that and define it for us, since you like doing that?
Well, what is the current science?
I don't know. You tell us, Chemo.
I've just told you.
All right. I'd really rather you tell me what the observed phenomena in Eratosthenes was. If you feel that that was not science, you have to tell me why it's not science. So tell me what it's missing.
He had no observed phenomena.
Really?
Yes, really.
What was he measuring?
Who knows?
Okay, then why don't you know? You just Googled it.
I've just told you he was a mathematician, geographer, poet, astronomer, and music
No,
theorist.
you just spewed off a cut and paste that you don't understand. So tell me on the experiment why you feel that there's not an observed phenomenon. What was he
Why don't
looking
you tell us what it is?
I have. So
What is it?
why don't you tell me why you think he wasn't observing
Well, say it again because I missed it.
No, you go look up what the Eratosthenes experiment
I
was.
missed your dependent variable, your observed phenomena. What was it?
No, you have to tell me why you think there's not one there.
I don't know what it is. You haven't given me one.
I don't have to give you one. All I have to do is report
So you don't
the
have one.
experiment.
Then. You don't have one.
I have to report the experiment. If you have a problem with it, you have to tell me specifically what your problem with it is.
You don't have an observed phenomena. That's my problem. Unless you can tell me what it is.
So you don't think he observed anything?
I don't know. You're not telling me anything he observed. What did he observe, Bob?
What do you think he observed, Jeremy?
This is your bullshit pseudo experiment. I don't know.
I'll tell you what he observed. He observed a stick. So what's the phenomena about a stick? What's the cause or explanation in question of a stick?
Well, a tree grows a stick.
Okay.
And then it has a certain length. Okay. So there's my observed phenomenon. Now,
So what's the so we know the cause into the stick. Yeah, it's fine, Joe. We know the cause to the stick is a tree. So what?
Great. Okay, so how did that come into play in Eratosthenes' experiment?
What, the cause of a stick?
Yeah, how did a stick come into play in Eratosthenes' experiment?
It came from a tree.
And what do trees do?
What do trees do?
Yeah, what do trees do?
I feel like we're in a quest for the Holy Grail right now.
No,
Bob.
we're just
What
sitting
the
down
fuck,
and
dude?
playing games with Chemo because he's trying to play games with me, and I'm not
Google
buying
it.
his bullshit.
Let's Google it.
What do trees do?
Let's Google it.
What do trees do in... Hey, here, let me help you out here a little bit. What do trees do in sunlight, Chemo?
Okay, trees are vital as the biggest plants. They give us oxygen, store carbon. What else you need to know?
What do they do in the sunlight?
What do they do in the sunlight? Let's have a look.
You seriously have to look up what happens with trees in sunlight.
Holy crap.
Okay, what do trees do? Trees use energy from the sun to create sugars through the process called photosynthesis. Without
You
these
Googled
sugars...
it?
So what,
Very good.
What's
What
next?
else do trees do in sunlight?
I've just told you.
What else do they do in sunlight?
All right, let's Google it. What else?
Really? You need to Google it.
This is just, this is why you don't really try. It's not a knowledge deficit on the part of science deniers. They've heard the knowledge, they just can't put it together.
He's even Googling what you literally said, which shows how stupid.
Yeah, I know.
And disingenuous.
Yeah. You see, they know the correct answer.
What else?
But they
Yeah,
can't
ask Google
say it.
what else.
Yeah, they know the correct answer. They just can't bring themselves to say it because it violates their little narrative.
Okay, so we now know what trees do. Where's the observed phenomenon?
No, what else do they do, Chemo? What do trees do in the sunlight?
They grow fruit.
What if they're not a fruit tree?
They grow leaves.
What if they have needles?
They grow needles.
Okay, so what else do trees do in the sunlight?
They grow.
Do they cast shadows, Chemo?
Depends.
It depends on what.
If it's night.
I said in sunlight. I specified in
Jesus.
sunlight.
Well, it would also
See,
depend.
you're just being obtuse, Chemo.
It would also
Yeah,
depend
but
if there
if
were
the-
other trees around it.
But over here in the nighttime, they do cast a shadow because in the summer we have sun in the nighttime.
Well, not if there are other trees surrounding the other trees, right?
Some of the trees give off a shadow.
He's talking about a
Some of
single
the
tree.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the trees. What's next?
He was talking about a tree, not lots of trees or a forest or anything. He said a tree. What does a tree do in the sunlight?
It depends what that
Okay,
tree.
so if
it
a
depends where
tree
that
casts
tree
a
is.
shadow, is that an observable event? An observable phenomenon?
No.
Why is it not an observable phenomena that a tree casts a shadow?
Because we know what causes the shadow.
And what's that, Chemo?
Sunlight.
All right. So why does that make it not an observable phenomenon?
Because it's not questionable any further.
Does it have to be questionable to be an observable phenomenon?
That's what a phenomena is.
But what if the
still a
shadow is
phenomenon.
longer in one day than it is another day? Is that not questionable?
No.
So we've got a shadow,
I
and we
drive
were
a
looking for the
pickup truck.
cause.
I drive a
We
GMC
have a
pickup
shadow,
truck.
and we're
Does
looking
that
for the
mean that
cause of the
you
tree
seeing me
casting the
drive
shadow.
is not a phenomenon?
Bob, can you hear me? We have a shadow. So now we're looking for the cause of the shadow.
Okay,
No.
so you agree that seeing a shadow is an observable phenomenon?
No, because we know the cause.
That's got no turf hit.
Yeah,
Are
we
you
know the cause
seriously
of
going to
shadows,
try
Bob.
and
This
make
is
that
silly.
argument? Is that the hill you want to die on, Chemo?
This
Yes.
is silly, Bob. We know
Well,
the
what
cause
about the
of the
relationship
No, flat Earth is silly, and what I'm doing is I'm sitting down and showing how silly it is.
What about the relationship of the shadow to the time of day or time of year? Is that something else we could look at, Jeremy?
Is that your hypothesis?
Jeremy, is that
We're trying to squeeze a dependent
possibility for
variable
something
out
to
of
do?
Bob here. He's being real hesitant to give it for some reason.
Because I don't feel the need to.
Maybe you
have
don't
to
know it.
determine what it is based on the experiment that I did.
Maybe you don't know the dependent variable, or maybe you don't have one.
Maybe I just don't feel like playing your little silly definition game. Now, if I have an experiment, you tell me what's wrong with it.
So you have no observed phenomena.
You just agreed that we have an observed phenomena, and that's a stick in a shadow.
So we know the cause of the shadow.
Makes no
So?
difference.
So we don't need to do anything more. What more do we need to do? We know cause and effect.
Do we know the cause of the length of the shadow?
What's that? How's that a phenomena?
How's it not?
Length is not a science.
Really?
So the shadow changes length during the day, and that's not observable phenomenon, no?
Well, what's the cause? What's your hypothesis?
Oh, so it is an observable phenomenon because now we're going to have a hypothesis, yeah?
We'll find out. What's
Well,
your
Well,
hypothesis?
first you have to admit that it's an observable phenomena. Can we observe the changing of the length of the
Length is not
shadow during the
important.
day?
Length is not important. The shadow is what we'll find out the cause is.
No, actually, the length is absolutely key to this. Do we
Not-
notice that
not
the
to
shadow
scientists.
changes in length during the day?
Not to scientists.
Do we notice that the shadow changes in length during the day?
What was the cause of that?
We're not at that point yet. Right now, we're deciding whether or not the changing length of a shadow is an observed phenomenon.
What was the cause of
Is
the
it?
phenomenon?
Is it? Is it?
I say it is.
Of course it is.
What's your hypothesis?
What do you think the hypothesis would be?
Mine would be different to yours.
No, well, then you go ahead and tell me what you think it is.
I don't see it as a phenomena.
Okay, what do you see it as?
Just a shadow.
And what about the changing of the length of the shadow? Do you not see that as a phenomenon?
No, length is not a science.
Okay, there you go. So I'm done playing little games with you, Chemo.
Length is not science.
Talk to Jeremy. He's smarter.
So, Jeremy, is the changing length of the shadow a phenomenon that we can observe?
The shadow could change length. Sure. What's your cause of that?
Okay, what do you think the cause of that would be? What's your proposal?
Dude, I'm not playing your fucking goofy games. What's your independent variable?
You tell me.
Time.
No, this is your experiment. This is not my goofy experiment. This is your shit.
No, you're the one that's saying it's not an experiment. Tell me why
You don't
think
have an
it's not
independent
experiment.
variable.
I
have an
don't.
independent
Really?
variable.
Yeah, it's called time.
Tell me what it is, you goofy fuck.
Jeremy, he's not going to
Watch
tell
your
you. Why do you
language,
keep
Jeremy.
asking?
Watch your language, Jeremy. Now,
Well, stop being
tell
goofy.
me what you think the independent variable on that stick shadow would be.
Unicorns.
Okay, well, how would you test for that?
I don't know. This is your experiment. I don't know. Am I right? Am I wrong? What?
Sure, Bob,
Have
he
you-
clearly doesn't know
okay,
how to
tell
do
me
these
what the
things. Why do you
experiment
keep going
is.
around in circles?
Tell me what the experiment is so that I know that you know what the experiment is. What is the Eratosthenes
We're trying to get the
experiment?
experiment out of you, Bob. We're trying to get the experiment out
What
of you.
is
You're not
the
telling us.
described Eratosthenes experiment, Jeremy? You don't know, do you? I didn't think so.
Yeah, this kind of went stupid. When
I'm
you guys
lagging
said
right
it's
now.
not
I'm
an
driving,
experiment.
so I'll be back.
This kind of went stupid when you guys said it wasn't an experiment. That's where you guys had to come in and correct that.
See, that's your positive claim that it's not an experiment. Now I'm calling you on that to
It's
make
not a
you
positive
demonstrate
claim.
why
That's dumb
it's
shit.
why it's not.
It's
an
not a
experiment.
positive claim. Saying something doesn't exist is a negative claim.
No, you're making a positive claim that it does not exist. You're making a positive claim that a known experiment is not an experiment. Now you have
claim
to
of
justify that.
non-existence. A claim of non-existence is a negative claim. It's not a positive claim that it doesn't exist. It's called a negative claim.
Your wife is not your wife. Your children are not your children. There you go.
So dumb, man.
So, Bob, where is the science in all of this Eratosthenes?
Describe the Eratosthenes experiment.
Don't engage chemo.
Observe sticks.
I warned you. Engage at your own risk.
I don't think there
I'm
was
not
a
going to
stick.
engage him until he thoroughly describes the Eratosthenes experiment as described in the literature.
I've just
I
told you.
just
You
don't-
observe sticks.
just want to
That's
point.
the observed
Wait,
phenomena.
Timo,
Observe a shadow.
Timo.
That's the observed phenomena. What's our
Timo,
independent
I-
variable?
Chemo, I don't think there was a stick in the Eratosthenes experiment.
So there was no stick in Eratosthenes, Bob.
No stick at all.
No stick, Bobs. What are you talking
It was
about? sticks
actually
for?
an obelisk, as I recall.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about sticks,
it's
Bob?
it's a huge ball made of stone. No
Spent
stick.
the last half an hour talking about sticks, Bob. Why?
Because you said sticks.
Bob, why are we talking about sticks and trees?
Can you use a stick to do the same thing?
I don't know. You've just been told there are no sticks in Eratosthenes.
I used a stick.
Well, you're wrong then.
Really?
No.
Why?
Yes, you're incorrect.
Why am I
'cause
wrong?
You've just been told by other ball earthers that sticks are not involved.
Because you have to use obelisks, Bob.
No, I what I said that in the Eratosthenes, the way he did it, there were no sticks.
Bob, so what are you
Doesn't
talking
mean
about
you
sticks?
cannot. Doesn't mean you cannot do it with a stick.
Bob,
any
why?
I
other thing.
actually did it with a name tag off my desk the last time. And I've done it with carpenter squares, and we've done it with wooden dolls. You can do it with a flagpole, too. You
What
can
is
do it
observed
with any
phenomena?
object that has a length and casts a shadow.
Okay, so what is
Right.
our observed phenomena? Eratosthenes.
There you go.
You
Bob.
have
Now
to describe
you have
the
an
full
independent
experiment
variable
first.
now.
You have to describe the full experiment before I'm going to answer your questions, Kimo.
Yeah, so
The object you use to cast the shadow can be your independent variable.
what's the call? What's your cause?
Describe the experiment first, Kimo.
So you take a stick, look at Alexandria, another stick, you put Irene, made measurements. Where's the science in there?
You just said it.
What? Cases.
And what we did there. So there's your science. What's the problem with that?
What was the observed phenomena?
What do you think it was?
Wasn't any questionable.
You've already admitted what the observed phenomena is, so just go ahead and say it.
Well, the sticks, we know the tree was a stick.
Does this hurt you, Kimo? I mean, does stupidity hurt?
We know the cause. We know where the sticks come from. So we know what's next.
Describe the rest of the experiment.
Told you.
How about this? The fact that the shadow lengths are different at the two locations The fact that it's different, that's the phenomena that's being observed because, as you said, we don't know the cause. So then we see the happening and postulate and hypothesize the cause, and then we move on to the next test of the hypothesis, which has gone on for centuries, and therefore the cause of the length of the shadow to be different at different locations. That's another independent variable right there. You got height of stick and distance between the sticks. So there's your independence. And the phenomena is, why are the shadows different lengths? Wow. Maybe because the sticks are radial to the shape of the earth. Yeah. And then let's advance a couple of centuries with a whole bunch of technology. And yeah, you know what? We were right then, we're right now.
Let's try again. What did you observe that was questionable?
The fact that the two shadows are of different lengths.
Chemo, until you actually describe the experiment that you have a problem with, I'm not going to bother with you.
Well, this is not an experiment. This is what we would call science.
That's your positive claim, that it's not an experiment. Tell me precisely why you think it's not an experiment.
Not have an observed phenomena.
Well, the observed phenomena was that Earth is a globe. That was the observed phenomena.
Well, actually, the observed phenomena is that a stick casts a shadow.
Yeah, and then angles to the sun.
No. The observed phenomenon was that Earth is a globe.
Wasn't there a whale
questionable
involved somewhere?
The questionable thing was its circumference.
The observed phenomena was the difference in the shadow lengths, returning different angle.
That's not
the Earth being a globe was a premise.
The fact that the shadow lengths were different, that's the phenomena.
That's not an observed phenomena in nature.
What is an observed phenomena in nature, Chemo? Why do you use that term?
Wait a minute,
Observed phenomena in nature would be something like an apple falling from a tree.
And a stick casting a shadow is not in nature?
Well, where do we see that in nature?
Anytime the sun's up?
Literally anywhere the sun is up.
Okay, so what is the cause of that phenomena?
What do you think?
That's about the cause.
Unicorns, like Jeremy said.
Okay, go ahead and test for that.
Okay. Tested.
Report your results.
Earth is flat.
And what was your mechanism by which you came to that result?
Sun rays are parallel.
Okay, so you're just saying random things that you have no idea. You have no idea of. So
Observation.
So I don't really have anything else to say to you, Chemo, because I've already exposed you to be an idiot.
Well, like I said, what we're looking for is the science to support.
Chemo, did you just actually posit parallel sun rays on a flat Earth with a local sun? Like that makes sense?
I tried to listen.
No, that's what you did.
It's exactly what he did, Brian.
Look, what we're looking for is an observed
Well,
phenomenon.
that's a new level of dumb.
Okay. So what we're looking for is an observed phenomena to support the model. We don't seem to have an observed phenomenon that we can manipulate. And
you want a support of the heliocentric model? I'll give you that. How about a full set of phases for the planet Venus?
And you're presupposing that Venus is a planet?
No, we know Venus is a planet. We've been there. So, since Venus exhibits a full set of phases and a change in size,
when did we go there?
The absolute evidence. That's absolute evidence of a heliocentric model.
When did we go?
I haven't gone there.
How do you know it's a planet?
Because humans have sent probes to Venus. That's how.
Oh.
Go look it up.
Yeah, you've already looked at it.
Our inability to have an uncut footage for you is not an admission that we don't have anything.
You have any
And
evidence?
the fact
I don't have to present evidence for your approval, Chemo. If you question it, you're more than welcome to research it.
And the fact
More
that we can
importantly, he's already seen it.
the fact that we can see phases of Venus means it's a smaller version of the moon.
Hey, where's your evidence to support this?
Geometry,
Photography.
which is definitional. The fact that Venus has a full set of phases means it's between us and the sun.
Hey, where's your evidence?
As is Mercury.
Where is the evidence?
Look at the phases of
So,
Venus.
are you denying that there's phases of Venus, or are you just denying that those prove it's a planet?
Who knows? We haven't seen it. Where's the observation?
So we haven't seen the phases of Venus. That's what you're
Who
saying.
knows? Observation. Could be.
Look them up, Chemo. They're readily available.
Not my claim.
Yeah, go to Google, look up phases of Venus, and
my
hit images. It'll show them to you.
Not my claim.
There seems to be some in the chat too.
Yeah, it's been posted. Now we have the phases. Now where are we at?
Well, this is an animation, right?
No.
Let's take a look at
No,
the
it's
real
not
thing.
an animation.
Where's
Those
the
are
real-
pictures, Chemo.
Let's take a look at the real thing.
Those are images. Those are the real thing, Chemo.
That's in contention. It could be animation.
Chemo, you're
Another positive claim. Show its animation.
I said it could be. Who knows?
Okay, that's a positive claim. Demonstrate your positive claim. Show me
Could
how that's
be is a
animation.
maybe, possibly. Don't know.
Okay,
It's
so
still
you're
gonna be
using the
positive.
tobacco strategy and trying to just come up with doubt because doubt is your ally, right?
Could be. We just don't know. Oh, we've got a video. Here.
Okay, by saying it could be, does that mean that it is?
Don't know.
Okay, so you're
no,
claiming
no, Chemo,
that
that
we
means you
don't
do
know.
not know.
So who does know?
Yeah. Probably the people who observe it, like the urban astronomer who actually has a time lapse of 7 months of the phases. Chemo, with a decent telescope, you could do this yourself. You could verify it yourself.
These are just lights in the sky, not planets.
Chemo,
And
you could
what is-
verify that this
what is
light.
your proof
You
that
could
they're
verify
only
that
lights
this
in
light
the
has
sky?
phases.
I'm looking at it right now from.
What are your proof? What is your proof that that Venus is just a light in the sky? Where is Venus right now?
Have an observation. Room fundle.
Where is Venus right now?
Sky.
Where in the sky? No, it's not above my head.
Where is it then?
Tell me where Venus is. It's not above my head.
Where is it then?
Below the
Look it
horizon
up.
during this time of day, is it not?
It's actually in the southwest sky right now, just above the horizon, and it's very obvious if you look.
Demonstrate that.
Yeah, I can look. That's how I demonstrate it, and I can see it. I don't need to do that. And it's
Anyway.
also daytime here.
I think DJ wanted to say. How's your chance?
Yeah, Venus rises out of my ass every morning. 5 o'clock, I'm up there. That's me, morning sun. I put myself up there every morning, and you're asking me, "Oh, go ahead, do it now." No, mate. All right, I've got a job to do. You're not going to get me off my schedule.
Are you hearing something that I'm not?
And Venus is currently below the horizon. It'll be rising in about an hour.
I think Chemo's got a hot mic. Mute him.
But what we're looking for is a phenomena in nature. Variable that we can.
Shadows.
Now you're making the observed. Now you're making
Shadow-
the observed phenomenon the experiment for some weird reason. Chemo, you're gonna have to keep your pseudoscience straight.
So do we have an
Shadows.
experiment?
Shadows are nature as a natural phenomenon. Shadows occur in nature as an observed phenomenon. What's unnatural about a shadow from the sunlight?
What's the cause? Well, there you know the cause of the.
No, you said a phenomenon is something we don't know the cause.
Yes, so somebody who looks at a shadow doesn't know the cause unless they experiment with light.
That's the phenomena, yeah.
So we know the
And the
cause
fact-
of the shadow.
And yeah, the sunlight causes shadow. That's in nature, and the shadow lengths are different, and that's observed in nature. Nature causes shadow, and nature causes those shadows to be different lengths. So we're sticking strictly with natural here.
What's questionable?
Why are the shadow lengths different?
What's your hypothesis?
The Earth is a sphere.
Okay, so the sphere is the cause.
Correct.
Taking a test.
By repeating it and using more sticks.
No, you need to manipulate your cause, which would be Earth.
No, the manipulation is the distance between the sticks.
Manipulation would cause to the.
No, the manipulation.
Well, we find that when we vary.
I'm afraid.
We find that when we vary the latitude, the length of the shadows is different.
I'm gonna help you out, Larry. I'm gonna get you the.
So therefore, we have an experiment where we vary the distances, and we can mathematically model what the answer that we get out of that. And when we model it using multiple sticks, we find that flat Earth with a local sun is impossible. We find that flat Earth with a distant sun is impossible. We find that round Earth with a local sun is impossible. All we wind up with as possible when we run through all the models
I'm gonna have to interject.
is round Earth, distant large sun.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to interject at this particular moment because
I'm gonna help you out there, Larry. I'm gonna get you definition of variable.
Okay, so you're just going to ignore what I said.
Yeah, we're already on one step.
I can change the input. I can be at different latitudes. I control that. I made the difference by putting the location of my observation points at different distances. By changing, yeah, that's independence. I controlled that. I changed the distance.
Not really, no. And more importantly, look at things fractal planes. That's what you actually got to look at there.
So what does that say, Larry?
If I may have a chance to speak, it would be quite good.
It says that Eratosthenes was accurate.
What does the definition?
Definition of what?
Dependent.
Changing the input.
What
do you mean here?
I posted in the chat box here the definition. Best.
Another way of saying exactly what that says right there is changing the input.
Hey, wait a minute,
Not-
Kimo, that doesn't at all say that the experimenter has to manipulate the variable. It just says it has to change.
All right.
You need something to be changed, Kimo, according to your definition. You don't have to manipulate the experiment.
Yeah, it says the variable that is changed or controlled. So you're saying that a controlled variable is an independent variable, according to this quotation that you have here.
But Larry, what did you?
Gold.
Larry, what of your independent variable did you?
Distances, Kimo. He explained it to you for 3 times.
Yeah, he controlled the distance.
Larry, can you hear me?
Somebody tell me my microphone's working.
Are you still there?
Hello?
In your imagination, Kimo, do you really think we're gonna make the Earth bigger or smaller just to have dependent variable as a Earth? You're so dumb.
Larry, what is the cause of the shadow length?
That's the question, and by multiple and repeat observations over long periods of time, we have found to no uncertainty remaining that the length of the shadow can be caused to increase and decrease by changing the distance between the points of observations. Yeah, so there's my independence, and by your own definition, that changed the outcome. So it changed the output of the observation. So yeah, I am doing exactly the definition that you provided. I changed the input and observed the change in output. That is exactly what you put in the fucking chat.
What is the cause of the shadow's length?
Already discussed. Move on to a new question.
Larry, what is the cause of the shadow?
That was answered. So find technical flaw with the answer. Not just ask the question again. Find flaw with the answer.
Say the Earth.
No. I said the location on Earth.
Location on Earth.
Yeah, my independent variable.
How are you going to manipulation?
Moving the sticks, idiot, from a point to another point. What? So Kimo,
can
did you
get
take the pills today?
I can get in
How-
my car and drive to a new location.
Yeah, how can you ask a question like that? Like,
Because he's a fucking ass little 5-year-old child just repeating stupid shit without
I mean,
getting the answer.
5-year-old. Yeah, I mean, a 5-year-old understands how you can manipulate your location.
And he's not investigating the answer. He just asked the question again.
So we've got a shadow, we've got a stick, and it changes length. You're saying that if I move somewhere else, that stick and shadow will change length.
Just the shadow, not the stick.
Yeah.
So let's say we put a stick in the ground, and the shadow of that stick changes length. Are you saying if I move somewhere else, leaving the stick where it is, the shadow length will change?
Well, you have to take the stick with you, dude, or you use multiple sticks, or in my case, multiple theodolites.
One second. He created a story. He created a story because you have to move. No, Kimo, he moved the sticks, idiot. Don't put words in his mouth just to stay with your narratives, idiot.
Don't talk about it. My opinion.
What we're looking at, Larry,
Come on, man, give me a break.
dependent variable with length of that shadow changing, yeah?
One second, Chemo. Somebody's mic is super low right here. They're trying to get in, but I can't. Nobody can hear you.
So Larry, we've got this stick, we've got this shadow. You're saying move location that shadow will change.
One better. Multiple sticks simultaneously measuring the shadow.
That's observed phenomenons.
It is by your definition.
How many sticks are you going to?
As many as I find necessary. So I use 3.
Looking at one observed phenomena in nature.
That's a statement, not a question.
This is circle jerk, Chemo. You're never going to get to the bottom of it with these guys.
Yeah, and Jeremy, you're very intellectually honest to intervene exactly when it was the point for Kimo to understand. Because if you move a stick, you're gonna have a different length according to the sun rays. So what's the biggest deal, Kimo, here? What are you don't understand?
Hold on a second. Larry.
What? Hold on a second. I'm trying to clarify the situation because you're just circling around with your questions. So what's the point that you don't get it?
Hold on a moment. Just want to go to Larry.
Yes, what's the point that you don't get it from those explanations?
Larry, we've got this stick round. See this effect with the stick.
Kimo, he had been explaining to you for 6 times, Kimo. Fucking hell.
God,
You keep
bro,
repeating.
let him go. Why are you rumpusing him?
Because he keep repeating the same thing for this is the 7th time.
He's trying to get to the
when
bottom
he's
of
going.
this bullshit. It's not easy with you.
What
with you crazy
bottom of the
motherfuckers.
bullshit? Fucking hell, he's on the real bullshit right now, circling around.
So Larry, we've got this stick. That's what we observe. We observe this stick, and this shadow. Yes? Now we're looking for the cause of this length, this stick, and this shadow. What is the cause?
Location. If you change the location, you're gonna have the different size of the shadow. Fucking hell. What's so hard to understand? Explain it 7, 8 time now.
Larry, did you hear my question? Try again. So you said we have a stick in the ground. Let's say a branch fell, so we don't affect it. Stick falls into the ground. Now we see shadow from this stick. This shadow is changing length. This stick. From this stick. What is the cause of that length?
Because the sticks are vertical, and that shows them to be radial to the shape of the earth.
I know, I heard that, Larry, but what is the cause of this length?
Well, you just said you heard it. Now, you didn't find technical flaw with it. So it's the ball's in your court. I told you why, and now you have to find technical flaw, not just ask the question again.
Back in a second. Think about that question.
he's gonna come back and ask for the cause of the stick.
It's funny because you guys keep repeating the same process over and over again with chemo, but you expect some sort of different result. You guys are insane.
They're trying to get it. They're trying to get a science out of this, and they can't do it. That's why they're insane.
I know
They are
the outcome won't change, but depending on the day, he has different knowledge about different things. That's an interesting thing always.
I have a
Jeremy.
hypothesis. It's that if we keep feeding the monster, it will go away.
No, I'm serious.
It will grow.
And Jeremy, by your understanding, do you really think if I'm gonna change the distance between those things, I'm not gonna have an independent variable or dependent variable that you put it in your fucking experiments that are not even true in the real world? What the shit are you talking about there, Jeremy? You're extremely honest when you're putting those questions. You're fucking delusional in everything what you have in your brain, but you're coming here to teach us how you have to do the scientific experiments. What's your position here,
just
my
write
friend?
it. Just write it down in chat.
Just write it down in chat. Yeah, cherry picking
Bro, I waited till you
from
stopped talking.
technologies. Yeah.
You stopped talking, and then I started. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
So, everything what you implied as a flat earther, believe me, is not a fact in our real world when you have to do something. As an engineer or as a scientist, we don't give a fuck about your promises and your discussions that are over the Discord or over the internet.
Then leave.
And those piece of crabs and those piece of crabs that you put, because you're trying to delude people, mate. That's why I'm here. You're trying to put people in different paths, creating pseudoscience from something that doesn't exist. First of all, flat Earth is not even a thing. Second of all, if you really want to do science, fucking hell, go to the school and understand what's the meaning of science. And third of all, if you really want to debate something, and if you really think you know something, don't put questions. Come with solutions, and after that, try to have the meaning of understanding of the level of how you debate something. Not putting question is not a debate. It's a shitty game. Yeah? And your intellectual honesty is over the top.
Okay, back
Zero.
to the science. Back to the science.
All right. So, hold on, chemo. Let's just have them write down their observed phenomena and the hypothesis and what the experiment was. That way we can get it all down and we know what it is and we're not playing word games anymore.
Larry, you still here? Let's get busy with some science.
Well, I think you hurt him. I think you broke his feelings.
But Larry, you said that you observed a stick, saw a shadow, change in length. What is the cause of this length?
Rewind the tape, because I already told you it's a demonstration of the fact that vertical lines are radial to the shape of the Earth. Now, that was put out as a hypothesis by Eratosthenes and gone on and been verified a jillion ways from Sunday, including the existence of the South Pole, sunrise, sunset, and eclipses. All right? Now, I did not, and to be clear,
There's the existence of the South Pole if you believe in a flat Earth.
Okay, so let's try again. Look, when we look in nature, we usually have an observed phenomenon, Larry, that requires an explanation.
I did, and I just answered those exact same two questions. So,
Larry, for example, if we see an apple falling, hypothesize what the cause. Not every apple. This apple that is falling, right? So we see this stick in the ground. It's got a shadow, change in length. What is the cause? Why is that shadow change in length like that?
I just told you that it was hypothesized as being radial to the surface of the Earth, and then verified ever since.
Being radial surface of the Earth. How do we manipulate the radial to the?
By moving to different locations.
Yeah, but then we don't have a depend.
No, moving locations fits the definition you posted. So
we don't have the observed phenomena anymore.
What?
Don't have the observed phenomena. If you move away from that stick, and answer something else, we're not answering this stick and this shadow.
Yeah, if you see an antelope in one field, you can't analyze that same animal in other fields.
That's not science. Anyway, Larry, look, we've got this stick
If you're
with a
fucking
shadow,
hungry, you're-
change in length. What is the cause of this stick and this shadow length?
Asking the question again
You
is
said the radio to the earth. Okay, how do we manipulate that then?
Holy fuck, Chemo. He's already answered you like 5 fucking times or more.
And not only that, I really.
Larry, we just want to be clear on your answer. Sounds like pseudo science, not actual science. You're not manipulating your dependent variable. You posted the definition.
panel. Up panel. Who agrees with me and who agrees with Chemo?
It's not about
I agree
consensus.
with you.
It's not about consensus, Larry.
Bob.
It's about what we can demonstrate to be.
Who agrees with Narbon?
According to the definition that Chemo gave, I agree with you, not Chemo.
Went to church. Everyone would agree.
According to the heart and soul of science, consensus is what you strive for.
So Larry, how are we going to manipulate this effect that we stick and the
Let's
shadow?
talk to somebody with some fucking intelligence other than Chemo. Let's talk to...
Larry, how do we manipulate
no,
this
don't bring
effect
in
that we
the-
see with the shadow and stick? Talking about the manipulation part. You've given us the hypothesis, given us the predicted cause. How do we manipulate this?
If you titillate an ocelot, you can oscillate its ocelot.
That's the best answer. Don't answer.
DJ, we can't hear you. Can anyone else hear DJ, or is it just me?
No.
Yeah, it's just background noise, bro. Just wait till your mic gets sorted out.
Probably do that.
Sorry, bro.
So do you agree with Chemo, Jeremy, that since it's not the same stick, that you can't do the analysis?
I'm not following this. You got an independent variable. You got your sticks, a shadow on the ground from a stick, right? And then now you have an independent variable. We're trying to find out the cause of this shadow.
He said it's.
We're not looking for the cause
he
of the
said it's
shadow, you moron.
He said it's the radii of the Earth or something. I'm asking, how does he manipulate the radii of the Earth?
That is
That's
this typical
phenomenon.
stupid flirt thing, well, we know the cause is the sun.
Larry didn't say that. That's your hypothesis, Moyle,
No one,
not Larry's.
no one says that.
Yeah,
no one
Larry
says
has a
that
different
the
hypothesis to everybody else. So, Larry, how are you going to
dependent
manipulate your
variable
hypothesis?
is not the radius.
Larry, how are you going to manipulate your hypothesis for independent variable? Moyle said the sun. Well, he means light.
No, I said that is what you guys do.
Like
you
in
change
real-
what's being observed and what's trying to be tested to some kind of a random thing. Like we know the cause of a shoe is humans.
It's the same. It's the same in real estate. It's called location, location, location. I change a location, the shadow gets different. There you go. And I
The
didn't use
location. All right, good. So location causes the shadow to change. Very good. Now what?
It's a demonstration of the fact that a vertical stick, or in my case, a precision theodolite, returns a different angle, and the
Yes, we
angle.
heard you. You change your location, you get a different shadow on the stick. Great.
Yeah.
Now what? So
And-
what? That doesn't prove shit.
Well, it seems like the relationship of the sun and the stick and your location all come together. So you have to analyze all of those things.
Your location, you get a different shadow length. Ooh, okay. Wow, that's fucking profound. Now what?
It is profound.
But Moya, can we cause a shadow without the sun?
Sure.
So then it's not the cause.
That's stupid.
What's the cause?
Yeah.
then? What about it?
You see, anybody who gets on the chemo bandwagon has to be a complete fucking idiot because he just showed himself to be functionally stupid.
So we realize we can make shadows without the sun. We can rule out your independent variable, Moya.
Why can we rule out the independent variable of using different locations? That met your definition.
If you do that, Kimo, then I can boil water without using heat. So heat isn't a cause for water to boil.
How are you going to do that?
with lowering the pressure.
Or make the water bubble.
That is what boiling is by definition.
No, this is just oxygen.
No, it's actually putting moisture into the air. It's evaporating. It is
bubbling.
at its critical temperature.
Called oxygen.
Yep. That is
No,
what boiling is.
No, because there's still oxygen in the water when it's you up. Pressure, there's no oxygen. Anyway, back to Larry.
Yeah, back to getting another L.
Describe your independent variables as you prove the shape of the Earth by measuring or doing something. Describe how you're going to prove the Earth is flat.
It's not
See, that's your whole problem. Science doesn't deal with what is questions. The shape of the Earth is a what is question. What is the shape of Earth? You're not going to find that out. You're not going to find that out using the scientific method, because the scientific method deals with how and why questions, the cause of.
Okay, good. How and why? Why is the shadow length different or the angle to the sun different as I change latitude?
I don't know why.
Because vertical, the angles are measured from vertical, and vertical is radial to the planet.
So how does this prove the shape of Earth?
The fact that vertical lines are radial. There you go. Now, come up with a counter experiment.
This is not an experiment. I don't need to come up with a counter experiment. You don't have an experiment for me to counter. If you did have an experiment, I would be agreeing with you and saying, yes, we have some great science here, and it's all settled. So we're not.
Can I get a second opinion on Jerry's declaration that is not experimental?
No, you don't have it.
Stand on your own 2 feet, Larry. Figure these things out for yourself. See something in nature, hypothesize the cause, and then be able to manipulate it with an experiment.
Been there, done that, posted the results.
What did you manipulate?
You asked that question a long time ago and many times in between.
Are you taking this stick with you?
Why is your short-term memory so flawed that you cannot remember the answer to the question you asked so many times?
All right, so let me explain to you. If you remove the stick, you're going to have a different effect. The shadow could be on the other side. It could be facing a different way. Yeah?
No, because I use 3 instruments simultaneously.
Again, we're looking at the observed phenomena, trying to answer that question.
At the observed phenomena at 3 locations with 3 identical instruments, and they all returned different results because they were all oriented to vertical.
Okay, so the cause of that is you. The only thing that you changed was you. You went from one place to another.
Uh-oh, I hear my Uber in the driveway. Bye.
Say that again. That's why we set the standard. Science. Yes, we are superior when it comes to figuring out these things in the world around us.
But what did you do?
You're still stuck. You're still stuck in the 3-dimensional.
We looked at an observed phenomena. At what caused that effect?
Which phenomena?
Shadow.
Is it the one?
What if I came across a stick that naturally grew somewhere? And it was coming out of the ground naturally. And the branches had all fallen off it, and it's just the shaft sticking straight up. And then I looked at the shadow of that, and I took the measurement of the shadow of that in 2 places. Is the cause still me?
Is that? Why are you coming on sticks? What?
Is the cause still me?
Hey, come on, man. What did the stick ever do to you?
Who the hell was just talking?
Yeah, it's me again, man.
Kind of fetish.
DJ, you can't be heard.
Yeah, alright, I'll stop. But you heard some of it.
So, Chemo, is the cause still me?
Actually, if I have a stick at one location and I'm at the equator, does the length of the shadow and the time have a linear function?
Oh, Chemo, you're not answering.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So look, the only deal
So is the call still me?
Are you gonna answer?
you already covered that, Mike.
No, we got the stick growing out of the ground. I didn't hear that covered, so you can quickly answer instead of just beating around the bush. You can just get it
Yeah,
over with.
if a branch falls in the ground and it's natural.
No, not a branch. It's a tree that grew and the branches fell off it. And now there's just a stick there. It's straight up and down, a meter tall, in two places.
What caused that?
I don't know. What is that? Is the cause me?
Not. That's the cause.
So but I can observe the phenomena of the shadow coming off it, right?
What causes the shadow?
The sun does. At least that's what I'm observing. The moon could also.
What questionable?
Well, I'm just trying to find out if we can come up with a method that doesn't have your problem of you were the cause.
So far, we know cause. Fine.
Okay. So now we'll apply all the other things to that, the length of the shadow.
Okay, what causes the shadow to change?
Relationship of the sun to the stick.
Not questionable then. Is it?
The questionability is in how much the angle changes.
That's not.
Okay. Why anybody talks to you is beyond me. Of course,
now
why I
entering
get
into
sucked
the
into
realms
it
of.
also is beyond me.
You're entering into the realms of.
Chemo, you have to. I mean, you're not doing the denialism well enough. I mean, every observation is caused by the observer, because if I don't observe something, it doesn't happen. So humans are the cause for everything. That's your next step in
How are you going to
denialism.
manipulate it?
Yeah, you can't, because it's pseudoscience, because it's man-made. It's not natural.
How are you going to test that?
You can't, because, I mean, with this new denial that you can use, nothing is science.
Can't test it, but you know it.
No, it is pseudoscience.
How do you even know it's pseudo?
Because all observations are man-made.
What does that mean?
That you can deny all science now.
Well, if that's your.
Believe in Keanu. That's right.
I mean, you do deny all science, so you now have an ad hoc reason for it.
Nice pseudoscience.
No, you deny science.
Okay, what science do you have?
Do you agree with the quote for the independent variable that you posted?
What science do you have that we deny?
The citation that you gave.
What's the observed phenomenon of that citation?
Nope. It said that you can have an independent variable that you just control. Do you agree with that?
The phenomena.
Do you agree with the citation?
I deny the science. What science do you have?
You deny independent variable just being controlled.
Where do we observe that?
I didn't say that we observe it somewhere. You just deny it.
How is it science if we don't?
All observations are man-made.
How did you determine that?
Because if I don't observe something, I don't observe it.
What was your experiment?
You can't have any experiments. It's impossible.
How do you know it?
Because you just can't.
I know you said you can't. How do you know this without an experiment?
Well,
Kim, make this more interesting. It's just, just ridiculous and annoying.
All right, we'll come to. Has been.
You're coming to a break.
Yeah, we can end right there. I thought.
You can unmute me now.